We have in our minds a concept or an idea that Islam is a religion like other religions. Islam is a way of life like other ways of life. Islam is a path that is like other paths. There are many religions in this world that we see, many paths, if you want to call it, towards reaching a different or a higher status than what we are at today. And if you talk to people of religion, if you talk to men or women of God, whether they are priests, ministers or rabbis or imams or sheikhs or sayyids, you see that they want to try and get us to a level different than where we are today. They want to get us to a higher level. This is the ultimate intention. Whether it happens or not, I don't want to discuss that. But the intention is to bring us to a different level, and ideally a higher level. So where we are today in a certain place or position, we want to be in a different place and a position in another way. Somebody who had an interview just the day before yesterday was telling me one thing, mentioning that the interviewer at an educational institution, the interviewer asks this candidate, who was one of our Shia sisters, and she says that the interviewer is asking her, where do you see yourself in 20 years? And this made me think for a moment, if any of us sitting here were asked, where will you be in 20 years from now? I might say I'm going to be in the cover, but Allahu Alam, only Allah knows that. But usually we get asked by interviewers or others around us, and it used to happen to us, I'm sure all of you may have experienced it, when you go into high school or when you go into elementary school, your teacher might ask you, where do you want to be 2 years from now? Where would you like to be 3 years from now? And if it's somebody who is a philosopher or a thinker or somebody who is an idealist or a true academic, he or she may ask you, where would you like to be in 5 years? In half a decade, where would you like to be? I've never known of an interview say, where would you want to be in 20 years from now? That's completely, a goal or a dream. But this made me think simply because we say Islam is a way of life, but sometimes we ourselves, and I'm only talking about myself, have not really appreciated how complete and how articulate this religion that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent down is. How fulfilling it is in getting us to an ideal or getting us to fulfill dreams, goals or hopes that perhaps other faiths cannot even think of achieving. And when you look at what a believer has done, and there's a simple hadith, I'm saying simple from my terminology, a simple hadith of Imam Musa ibn Ja'far alayhi salatu wasalam, in which Imam al-Qadim shows or demonstrates, puts on the table the quality of a Shia. He says, our Shia is the one for whom their today is better than their yesterday, and their tomorrow will be better than their today. Now, one aspect of this, when you look at the tafsir of this, and the ulama have written extensively on the tafsir of this, and the shara of this hadith, it of course, on one angle and a significant angle, talks about our spiritual status. That maybe yesterday I didn't do a tasbih of Fatima Zahra salamullahi alayha, but today I will, inshallah. And tomorrow I will not only do the tasbih, I'll do the ziyarat of Sayyid al-Shuhada after the salat as well. So, we try to do this on an ongoing basis. And the Imam says that that's the quality of our Shia. But at the same time, the Imam's hadith, and if you look at the shara of the ulama on this hadith, they also look at another aspect, that our physical or our temporal being also needs improvement. Our status also needs improvement, and I'm not talking this social status or an arrogant status, or because we have seen downfalls of those who have been socially elite and then they collapse. So there's no shortage of that as well. But what the Imam also could be alluding to is that we want to grow at every level. So coming back to what I said, Islam as a religion, does it only tell us that no, our spirit only has to get better and closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Or does it also tell us that our bodies, our minds, and our physical states also need to get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? If somebody, for example, is sitting around only eating and drinking and having all kinds of calories, and they say, I'm spending all my afternoon in tasbih tasbih this and Quran this and that, but I don't want to do any walking, I don't want to do any exercise, I don't want to do any physical exertion, I'm tired, but I'm doing ibadah, so I'm better than I was yesterday. Yesterday I only did 10 tasbih, today I did 12, tomorrow I'll do 14. So now, do we see this person as an ideal, or is it something that we have neglected to see? And again, when you look at the message of Islam, when the message of Islam initially came down, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala's messenger, Hazrat Rasul sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, conveyed Islam, the rules and the ideologies were very simple. Qulu la ilaha illallah tuflihu. We bear witness that there's one God, bear witness that Muhammad is the messenger of Allah. And then when you look at the initial group of those who were the first Muslims. Now, I know that from an Aqeedah point of view, we understand Rasulullah was Awwal al-Muslimin. Amir al-Mu'mineen was already a Muslim. Hazrat Khadija Tahira was already a Muslimah. But when we look at it from a dunyavi point of view, we see that the Prophet was number 1, and Ali alayhi salam or Khadija alayhi salam was number 2, Ali was number 3, and the list then grows on. So as we go on this initial list that we are still counting on our fingers, one of them, some historians have said number 4, some historians have said number 5, is a very famous companion known as Abu Dharr Ghifari. And Hazrat Abu Dharr had come from a very interesting background, but again, I don't think I'll have the time to go into this, but I wanted to come to one aspect that ties in with what I was saying. Because Islam, making sure being a complete way of life or religion, has to cover all aspects of a human's life, including the social aspects, the economic aspects, the political aspects, and the spiritual aspects as well. So no stone can be left unturned, otherwise Islam would not be a complete way of life. So while some religions say that no, we only want to concentrate on the spirit gets closer to God, that's enough. Some will say no, the body has to be closer to a creator or to nature, and they will concentrate on environmentalism, and they will concentrate on nature and Mother Nature. Islam took a whole different aspect. And the reason why I mentioned Abu Dharr, he said from a background that he was at, he went on to become somebody who the books of history allude to as a socialist. Now, socialism may have a negative connotation in our society, our community. In Canada, socialism is immediately identified as left-leaning government control and this and that. But socialism has another aspect to it. If you look at the word socialism, comes from the root of social, society. Society means the people. So there is a certain balance that a socialist would strive towards, and then we'll try and compare whether this is actually part of Islam or not. Because again, when we look at political ideologies, socialists or socialism of today may or may not necessarily concur fully with Islam. Because socialists here in Canada or North America have taken it to the other extreme whereby everything is okay. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So the socialists are the left-leaning parties or people or individuals or politicians say, no, everything is okay. Now there should be, government should take care of everybody from cradle to death. That's what the socialist platform in North America is. And of course the capitalistic climate or the capitalistic slogan is, you're basically looking after yourself. You do whatever you can do. If you have money to pay for a doctor, you'll get treated. If you don't have money, well, sorry, tough luck. The survival of the fittest plays itself out. So now, in these early stages, Hazrat Abu Dharr was one of those people who had remained loyal to the Prophet during the time of the Prophet and after the Prophet as well. And in fact, it was said by the Holy Prophet, it's a hadith that is attributed to the Holy Prophet, that the sun has not shone on anybody more truthful than Abu Dharr Ghifari. The Prophet has been quoted as saying that the sun has not shone on somebody more truthful than Abu Dharr. What was it? The historians have written that his dedication and his determination was something that was very exemplary. When he used to live in a tribe south of what is today Mecca, and over there, they didn't have this idea of God or Allah or the one creator. So they used to worship whatever they did. But Abu Dharr was very different. Even in his own tribe, he was what we can call a misfit. He didn't worship whatever his tribe worshipped. And so when he heard that there is somebody who's claiming to be a prophet, he immediately went there and he met with the Prophet, he believed in the Prophet, and he went out publicly in the Kaaba. And now keep in mind, the Kaaba is not the Kaaba what it is today. Yes, today it is polluted by the Wahhabi and the Stakfiri ideology. At that time it was polluted by the mushrikeen ideology. So there have been adjustments at various levels there. But again, in between when Rasulullah came, it was, alhamdulillah, better. But before that, Makkah was the center of polytheism, of mushrikeen. And so anybody who wanted to say something had to be sort of approved or okayed by this council of the mushrikeen who had their own ideologies. So Abu Dharr would go there, he would bear witness that there is only one God, he would bear witness that Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam is the messenger of Allah. And so these mushrikeen would beat him so severely that he would actually lose consciousness. That's how much they used to beat him. The next day, Allah, my salams. The next day, he would again go out in the Kaaba, in the precincts of the Kaaba, and again bear witness to the oneness of Rasulullah, oneness of Allah, and the messengership of the Holy Prophet. And again, they would take him down from that stand that he was standing on, and they would beat him to a pulp, and they would again knock him unconscious until some of their own tribes would come and say, Baba, this is, leave him alone, he's dead. They would actually think he was dead. The third day, when Rasulullah found out about this, he commended and complimented Abu Dharr, but then he told Abu Dharr, he said, go back to your tribe and teach them about Islam. Go back to your tribe and teach them about Islam. Now, why I took you on this journey, first of all, to show you the perseverance of Abu Dharr, and to show you what, determination and what was the caliber of the people who were with Rasulullah in those initial stages. Okay, then the Prophet will go and teach your people about Islam. Now think for a moment. Islam was still in Makkah. So there was no salat, no saum, no forbiddance of alcohol and drugs and all of this. It was a very simple, basic faith. It was basically La ilaha illallah. Even the salat at that time was not wajib, but there was a certain idea of salat. But worshipping Allah, only believing in one Allah was the predominant factor, and believing in Rasulullah, and of course the Quran. If you look at the Quran Majid and the various ayat, the various sawar, the surahs that talk about, the Makki surahs that talk about faith and Aqidah and Usul ad-Din, you see that this is what was the message. Abu Dharr at this time would have had a very simple job. Believe in Allah, say La ilaha illallah, Muhammad Rasulullah, the job is basically done. The Prophet had a vision that was very different than perhaps what historians have seen. The Prophet saw something in Abu Dharr that was unique. And another thing that the Prophet had said to Abu Dharr was, you are the Isa of my community. You are the Isa, you are Jesus of my community. Now again, if you look at the life of Hazrat Nabiullah Isa, the Prophet doesn't say things out of emotion. At one time, one of the very famous companions, Ma'ath, was narrating that the Prophet was passing by Jannatul Baqi. When he was at Jannah, there was a tree that had died. When the Prophet sat down beside the tree suddenly came back to life and started giving fruits. The Prophet then told one of the companions, go call Ali ibn Abi Talib. He called Ali ibn Abi Talib. And then he started sharing these fruits with Ali ibn Abi Talib and himself until they were full, and the plate that they were eating suddenly disappeared. And the companion is watching this. One of the ashab is watching this. Then the Prophet says, he says that one of the things that has been an obligation for me is to appoint Ali ibn Abi Talib as my wasi, my wali, my khalifa, and the successor after me. And the Prophet goes on to name all of the successors from Adam alayhi salam. Adam appointed Sheeth, and the line continues right up until the time the Prophet says, I have appointed Ali, and Ali will appoint the Imams after him as well. One salawat upon Muhammad. In the reference, the book is called The Glad Tidings of Mustafa for the Shia of Murtada. He mentions, he said that one of the qualities of Imam Ali alayhi salam, he says that of course Imam Ali is the wasi, the wali and everything. But then the Prophet mentions that if anybody wants to see the status of Adam alayhi salam, the piety of Nuh, the awe of Hazrat Isa, the taqwa, the caliber of Hazrat Musa, the beauty of Hazrat Yusuf, وَانْظُرْ إِلَىٰ وَجْهِ عَلِيِّ ibn Abi Talib, look at the face of Ali ibn Abi Talib, you will get all 124,000 characters of prophets in one. Ya Ali. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. So Abu Dharr was one who stayed close to Ali. And there's a beautiful hadith of the Imam, of Amir al-Mu'mineen. He says, you want to know the difference between a mu'min and a munafiq? He said, a moment, even if I hit him on his nose with my sword. Imagine the agony of it. Even if I hit a moment with my sword on his nose, he will not hate me. But even if I give all the money that is existing, all the money that exists to a munafiq, he will never love me. It's very clear. And Abu Dhar was one of those people who stayed loyal to Ali ibn Abi Talib, knowing what the Prophet had said about Ali ibn Abi Talib. So why I brought on this is because afterwards, when there was a very simple message, La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, when Abu Dhar came back to Makkah and then the hijrah took place, and he remained close to Rasulullah and remembered the hadith of Rasulullah, he then sees the Prophet passing away. Abu Dhar sees the Prophet passing away. And what does he see after that? He sees Ali alayhi salam, Amirul Mu'mineen, pushed aside from the Khilafah. Pushed aside, and somebody else takes on the cloak of Khilafat. And a beautiful narration in the book, and once again Abu Dhar. The title of the book is once again Abu Dhar by Dr. Shariati. Ali Shariati writes in a very poetic way, he says, Abu Dhar, his wording is, Abu Dhar was terrified. This is the word he uses. Abu Dhar was terrified when Ali was not the Khalifa after Rasulullah's demise. And yet, because of Imam's stand, Abu Dhar stays quiet as well. Then the second Khalifa comes into office. Still Abu Dhar does not take a very vocal, if you want to call it. He was very upset. Abu Dhar was not one of those people to stay quiet. So it must have been on the injunction or the instruction of Amir al-Mu'mineen that he did what he did. When finally the third Khalifa comes into office, and Khalifa Uthman then calls Marwan back, whom the Prophet had exiled away from Medina. The Prophet had exiled him, Uthman calls him back. He was his cousin. He calls him back, and not only calls him back, he gives him important responsibilities and positions. Not only that, if you remember the wealth of Khaybar, the wealth of Khaybar was actually given to the disposal of Marwan, do as you want. Another one of his cousins was given in all of the taxes that was coming from Northern Africa. North Africa was all given to another cousin of his. So this is where Abu Dhar had to take a stand. And the reason why I've asked you to be a little pondering on this is because up until this time, the message of Islam was very simple. So if, for example, Uthman believes in La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, there's no problem. There should be no problem. If Marwan and Abdul Malik and this whole gang of the Abu Sufyan's family all said La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, there should be no problem. So everything should still be at a point where it is calm and collective. And what I said at the beginning of today's lecture, Islam is a complete religion, not just telling you to say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, but telling you to believe La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah. Not only get your spirit closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, but to get your body closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and as an extension of that, get the whole community closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. If today I am eating to my fill, and dear Sayyid is sitting there hungry, and I'm saying that this is mine, I don't care if you're thirsty or not. I say La ilaha illallah Muhammad Rasulullah, you say La ilaha, so we're all together, we're all the same, right? But there they will tell me that no, you've missed something, brother Shafiq. What have you missed? You've missed something that is a bit deeper. That while you are drinking the water and somebody else is thirsty, you have not yet completed your responsibility or obligation to Allah. So socialism, to its exact meaning, means that the community is looked after by those who are in a position to look after it. And so Islam is no less of a religion that talks about equality and the sharing of assets than it is of one having their own closest to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from a spiritual point of view. One salawat upon Muhammad and Ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali. So when Abu Dhar saw these palaces being built, because up until then, what did he see with the Prophet? The Prophet of Islam was the ruler of the entire Arabian Peninsula. The entire Hijaz was under his complete authority. Yet, his house was made of mud. He would sit on the floor. He would entertain the guests on his floor, whether they were rich or poor. Whether they were ambassadors or they were emissaries or they were just peasants. And everybody was treated equally by the Prophet, and the Prophet lived equally along with them. There was no, and this is again another thing that Shariat mentions in his writings, there was no distinction in the eyes of Rasulullah between peasant and poor, between king and ruler, between the elite status class from the worldly point of view and the lower status. Everybody was treated exactly the same. Everybody was given the same amount of time by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Not that the rich were given more time and the poor who can't make political contributions were given very little time. It wasn't like that. So he would eat the food of the poor. He would live in the house that the poor used to live in, exemplary, and we see this from Amir al-Mu'mineen as well. And he would spend the same time. His life did not change after he was the ruler of the Arabian Peninsula. What the people saw in Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Makkah is the same thing they saw in Medina. And from Shariat's point of view, a similar policy was in place during the first two Khilafats. Similar. I don't want to say the same, but similar. But when it came to Khalifa Uthman's time, this started changing completely. The entire scenario began to change. Now palaces were being built. Now bodyguards were in place. Those who were, at a certain status did not have access that the others had, the rich had, or the cousins had, or the family members. And so what was happening now is that what he calls, Kaisar al-Khazara, green palaces were being built. And a conversation that Abu Dhar had with Muawiyah ibn Abu Sufyan, he said that you're building this great palace, this huge palace. If you're doing it with your own money, it is asraf. If you're building it with your own money, it's asraf. If you're building it with Baytul Mal, the public treasury, then that is treason. You have taken the haqq of the people. He covered both aspects. Now, you see what I'm saying is, you will not find this directly in the Quran. The Quran doesn't tell you, don't build this, don't build that, do this, do that, okay? It talks about Shaddad, it talks about Fir'aun, it talks about Namrud. It gives us a philosophical foundation, an ideology. The implementation of that ideology is what is needed for the zamana of the time. The era of the time means the implementation. So Abu Dhar saw that, and while everybody else was quiet, Abu Dhar says, I cannot stay quiet. If it is your money, you're doing asraf. Why are you wasting it? If it's your money, spend it on your family, spend it on other things. Buy some nice treats for your kids, or there must be somebody poor in your family. So if it's doing it with your own money, your personal money, it's asraf. If you're doing it with Baytul Mal, then you have taken the haqq, you've committed treason. You have committed an act of treason against Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And when he saw, in one of the addresses, that he was a thorn on the side of Uthman, he would tell Uthman, because of you, the poor became poorer and the rich became richer. The wealthy became wealthier, the poor became poorer, and this was a systematic approach. And he kept it until such time that Uthman didn't know what to do, and he said, okay, I'm going to exile you. And Abu Dhar says, yes, I know you're going to exile me, because the Prophet had already told me, Abu Dhar, you were born alone, you lived your life alone, you will stay alone, you will die alone, and on Yawm al-Qiyamah you will be raised up alone and you will enter paradise alone as well. This was the status of Abu Dhar. So Islam was an all-encompassing religion. It did not leave any social aspect unturned or unaddressed. It reminded us that even in those early days, those who were the visionaries, those who were able to reflect and ponder like Hazrat Abu Dhar, were able to know what to do in a certain stand, in a certain situation, even though the rest of the community was quiet. So you can't say that, well, everybody is quiet, nobody is doing anything, so why should I do anything? Everybody is quiet, so why should I stay quiet? No, we need to take on the mantle of Abu Dhar and take that responsibility to the next level and say, this is what the Prophet expects from us, this is what the Imam expects from us, this is what our Allah Ta'ala expects from us. And so this life was something that was an exemplary life. And I actually had intended to just touch upon Bilal as well, because a couple of months ago in the US, there was Black History Month. And I wanted to sort of just contrast the two lives of Bilal and Abu Dhar, how they followed and acted in those respective responsibilities. Because what Bilal did after the demise of the Prophet, and when he saw what was happening, he actually left Medina. In fact, the people used to miss him, and when he would come back for a visit to Medina, they would say, oh, we want to hear the azan. And it was narrated that only one time when Hazrat Fatima Zahra asked him, that was the only time he gave the azan. Aside from that, we have no recollection or no historical narration of Bilal giving azan after the passing away of Rasulullah, after the leaving of Rasulullah. And the reason I say that is because both of them had their own, that the same ideology, how to implement what Islamic etiquettes, Islamic law would have said. And if you look at, for example, and the reason why I took Abu Dharr a lot more time, and perhaps inshallah in another discussion, I'll just talk a little bit more about Bilal inshallah. Abu Dharr reflected the one French thinker, Pascal, Blaise Pascal. And if you've read about him, he is, he's a scientist, a mathematician. He died at a very young age, 39 years of age. But Pascal was known to have had one very interesting quotation. The quotation was that the heart, and I'm going to read this because I don't want to make an error on this. He said the heart has a reasoning facility that the intellect does not. The heart has an intellectual facility that the intellect does not. He says the heart will bear witness of God. The intellect will not. You know, there's this dichotomy in the scientific and the academia where they say that, well, science and religion cannot fathom each other, cannot contrast each other, they cannot complement each other, they contradict each other, and so only one can be accepted. He says the heart has a reasoning facility that the intellect does not. The heart will bear witness to God. The intellect will not. And if you look at the life of Abu Dharr, his heart was believing in God before even the Prophet had announced his messengership. For 3 years before he met Rasulullah, he had already given up idols. He had not worshipped. He was worshipping, if you want to use the word worship, one God. Even though it was not as a Muslim as we know of it today. But he was already thinking or believing in the oneness of God before that. And so what Pascal's theory of the heart was, had applied 1,000 years before Pascal was even there, whereby he said that yes, the heart will find, if the heart is pure, it will have its pull towards the Creator. And if it has that pull towards the Creator, it will act in accordance with what the Creator will want. So a system or a society in which the social aspects are looked after, where everybody is taken care of. And by no means is Islam a communistic religion. I want to clarify that at the outset. In communism, a garbage collector gets paid the same as a doctor. Not that I have anything against garbage collectors; they are very important parts of our society. And if you think I'm joking, a few years ago, do you remember when the garbage collectors went on strike in Toronto? You could not spend even one day in downtown Toronto. That's how bad it was. So garbage collectors are not low people. Please don't think that. But what we're saying is that there's a certain grade that a doctor's earning salary capacity should be, as opposed to somebody who's just a street cleaner who didn't go to school or didn't want to go to school. So what we find is that that's not the extreme that we are subscribing to, but socialistic tendencies are something that Islam tells us to look at, because it's telling us to take care of the entire community. It's telling us to take care of the society. If there is nobody hungry in the community, if there's nobody left who is in need in the community, then build as many palaces as you want. Drive as many gold, silver-plated cars as you want. If there's nobody hungry, put ruby trims on your rims if you want. But until and unless that happens, then we have an obligation to help each other and to bring everybody's level up, so that spiritually and physically we get closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this is why I wanted to just share the life of Hazrat Abu Dharr in today's discussion. But we'll talk about the other important personalities. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to accept our amal, our deeds on this Laylatul Jummah, very blessed, very holy and special night, inshallah. We ask Allah to forgive our sins, make us closer to Him, inshallah, and give us all the ability to let's move together closer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the completeness that Allah would want us to go. ربنا تقبل منا إنك أنت السميع العليم. If we can recite 5 times together, may يجيبك. For those who are ill, for Allah Ta'ala to give them shifa, for our hajat to be accepted, for the hifazat of Imam al-Zamana, and for the safety and the security of those who are suffering in Pakistan, in Afghanistan, in Iraq, in Yemen, in Bahrain, in Palestine, in Nigeria, in all these, Syria, and all these places where there is suffering, inshallah, all together. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. يجيب المضطر دعا ويكشف السوء أما يجيب إذا دعا ويكشف السوء من يجيب المضطر إذا دعا ويكشف السوء. الفاتحة للأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات والعلماء والشهداء. الفاتحة.
Jazakallah, dear Sheikh. Inshallah, may Allah accept this beautiful offering on behalf of all those present over here. Just a reminder, brothers and sisters, that inshallah Salatul Jummah will take place over here at the IHS at 1:25 p.m. led by Sheikh Shafiq Hudda. And inshallah, to conclude this beautiful gathering, we will pay our respects to the grandson of the holy beloved Prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and those who had sacrificed his lives in the plains of Karbala. Sallu ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. السلام عليك يا رسول الله وعلى ابن عمك أمير المؤمنين وسيد الوصيين وإمام من ابترز الله طاعته على العالمين وعلى صديقة الطاهرة والإسمة الكبرى فاطمة الزهراء سلام الله عليها وعلى سبتين الإمامين السيدين الشهيدين الحسن والحسين سيدين الشباب أهل الجنة. زيارة وارث. السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفة الله. السلام عليك يا وارث نوح النبي الله. السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله. السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله. السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله. السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله. السلام عليك يا وارث أمير المؤمنين ولي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن محمد المصطفى. السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء. السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى. السلام عليك يا ثار الله وابن ثاره والوتر الموتور. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. ولعن الله أمة قتلت ولعن الله أمة ظلمت ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأسلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة لم تنجسك الجاهلية بأنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مظلمات ثيابها. وأشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين. وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرزي الزكي الهادي المهدي. وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وعلام الهدى والعروة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وبيا بكم موقن بشرائع الدين وخواتيم عملي وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. زيارة علي أكبر. السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله. السلام عليك يا ابن نبي الله. السلام عليك يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن الحسين الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها الشهيد وابن الشهيد. السلام عليك أيها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله أمة قتلت ولعن الله أمة ظلمت ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. زيارة الشهداء. السلام عليكم يا أولياء الله وأحباه. السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأبداه. السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة سيدة نساء العالمين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد حسن بن علي الولي الزكي الناصح. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله. بأبي أنتم وأمي تبتم وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم وفزتم فوزا عظيما. فيا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. زيارة أبو الفضل عليه السلام. السلام عليك يا أبا الفضل العباس يا ابن أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليك يا ابن السيد الوسيين. السلام عليك يا ابن أول قوم إسلام وأقدمهم إيمانا وأقومهم بدين الله وأحوتهم على الإسلام. أشهد لقد نصحت لله ولرسوله وللأخيك فنعم الأخ المواسي. ولعن الله أمة قتلت ولعن الله أمة ظلمت ولعن الله أمة استحلت منك المحارم وانتهكت حرمة الإسلام. فنعم الصابر المجاهد المهام الناصر والأخ الدافع أخي المجيب إلى طاعة ربه الراغب فيها زهد فيه غيره من الثواب الجزيل وثناء الجميل. وألحقك الله بدرجة آبائك في جنات النعيم. السلام عليك يا علي بن الحسين وعلي ومحمد بن علي وجعفر بن محمد وموسى بن جعفر وعلي بن موسى ومحمد بن علي وعلي بن محمد والحسن بن علي. السلام عليك يا صاحب العصر والزمان. السلام عليك يا خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك يا شريك القرآن. السلام عليك يا قاطع البرهان. السلام عليك وعلى آبائك الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. اللهم كن لوليك الحجة ابن الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك طوى وتمتعه فيها طويلا برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. اللهم صل